Darkcast Network. Welcome to the dark side of podcasting.
I'm Ted.
I'm JJ.
And we're here to tell you about our show, Conspiring to Argue.
I like it.
That is not relevant. What do we do on the show?
Well, on our podcast, what we do is take conspiracy theories, and either Ted or myself will argue about if the conspiracy is real or not.
Yep. And sometimes the conspiracies are silly. Sometimes they're, in the pantheon of the greatest conspiracies of all time. It's a mixed bag.
Sometimes they're about aliens.
So check us out wherever you listen to podcasts.
Sometimes they're about aliens.
Devil is on his way. Devil is on his way. Devil is on his way, motherfucker. The devil gonna make you pay. Fall to your knees. Devil is on his way. Fall to your knees. Devil gonna make you pay. Fall to your knees. Devil is on his way.
Hey y'all, welcome back to Mountain Murders. I'm Heather.
And I'm Dylan.
Hey Dylan, you're dancing in your chair. You look very excited to be here.
I am chair dancing. I can't contain myself. I've been waiting for this case this week. I'm totally excited for the story that you are going to bring forth from the vault. Man, you've been in the vault so much, so deep down rabbit holes lately.
I told you this case has me down in a rabbit hole, and I have to stop.
And Heather's like, I just had no idea
I must stop.
that there was this much information, that it goes all these different directions. And she's like, with all her work on the Patreon episode, West Memphis 3 series, and the cases she's been bringing forth, and the spooky cases for October, oh my gosh, it's like I get lost. I'm like, where's Heather at? She's down a rabbit hole.
I need a study.
Yeah, you do need a study.
I need a study. I want a study that mimics the narrator from the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Okay.
And I want his outfit,
Okay.
right? So I can just sit around in like my velvet smoking jacket.
And like a pipe.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, preferably like a Dunhill, right? Got to have some chocolately tobacco, some like dark tobacco.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know about pipes,
Yeah.
bro.
I bet you do.
All kinds of little like interesting gadgets in my office, like a globe. But I want a globe from like 30 years ago that's incorrect.
Okay.
That has like countries that no longer exist and shit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like an 80s globe.
Nice.
Or maybe like a human skull. Just a bunch of unnecessary things that have nothing to do with researching a podcast.
Yes, but there you are in your study with your weird leather-bound books that may be on various subjects that have nothing to do with podcasting. But yeah, that's lots of wood, lots
Like
of dark,
rich mahogany, Dylan.
dark wood, and yeah. All right.
Exactly. You know what they say? You won't tell people you won the lottery or that you're rich, but there will be signs. You'll know when I have like a fancy study.
And we were slowly reaching that goal with the help of incredible people like our newest patrons.
Exactly. So let's give a big shout out to Heather and Jody. You guys made our week.
They are
Sign up for Patreon.
They are going to sponsor today's episode, and we cannot wait to deliver for them and everyone else.
Right. Like you mentioned, we have the West Memphis 3 series. We've so far dropped 2 episodes in that series. Many more to go.
2 bangers.
I'm telling you, bro, we are breaking this case down like piece by piece. We're going to bring you information you didn't know you needed.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know, Right?
We know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, let's give a big shout out to the head bitch in charge, Courtney.
Yes. Courtney, a friend of the pod, sent us an incredible present.
Oh, man, she made us the coolest Mountain Murders framed artwork. We love it. Dylan,
Yes.
every time he sees it, he's like, I just love that. That's
Yes.
so cool.
And it reminds me of one of our OG patrons and listeners, Sunday. made us some logo art previously, and now we have like this collection from over the years.
It's so cool.
Thank you, Sunday, and
You know,
thank you,
I was
Courtney.
thinking about this the other day, Dylan, when we're like old and frail and like 100 years old and we're no longer podcasting. We're still going to have that art hanging in our home.
Yeah, I know.
And it's been such a big part of our lives.
No, it's true.
And our marriage.
And our
let's be honest.
relationship. It's true. And yeah, and we'll always have the memories, right?
Always. The memories. Yeah, thanks for the memories, Dylan. I apologize ahead of time. I am battling some type of seasonal allergy thing, so my voice is a little scratchy today.
Right.
And I just woke up from like a 3-hour long nap as well. So I'm going to apologize ahead of time if I sound really stuffy and or like I just woke up.
That's okay, Heather. We'll sprinkle a little some pumpkin spice on you, and we'll get you livened up.
Some spunkin? You're going to put some spunkin on me?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, that sounds I don't know.
A little seasonal spice, get you woke up, right?
So woke. My eyes are open.
All right.
Yeah, well, you know, Dylan, every season is allergy season when you're like allergic to everything, right?
Well, yeah. See, now I mark.
Because I'm just like it doesn't matter. I'm just constantly like allergic to something that's blooming or dying or decaying
Or changing.
just never ending.
So now your days of your notable days are days that you aren't snotty.
Exactly.
Right. And so the rest of the
Yes.
time you're snotty. So that's
Yeah.
just your life now.
Okay, Dylan, are you ready to get into today's episode? There is so much information. Like I said, I've been down rabbit holes, things I didn't need to know. I know it's going to be a 2-parter.
Okay.
And that's trimming it down, bro. We could probably have like 8-parter if we wanted.
Now hold on a second, Heather. Are you telling me you found out this much information about a case like this that has been fairly openly discussed for many years?
Well, there's a lot out there, a lot of misinformation. And then there's also a lot of, how do I put this? Information that has been given to authors, journalists,
Okay.
true crime writers, right? Shared by people who have intimate knowledge of the family, have shared maybe things that are a little less than savory.
Oh, really?
The family heavily disputes that information, but we'll see throughout the case the family doesn't want to bring up anything that has a negative connotation or makes them look bad.
Okay, so
So some of the stuff people are saying, like people who would know are saying the certain thing, but then the family's like denying it, you know? So it's like, it's just one of those messy cases, and you kind of hate to you don't want to victim blame, and you don't want to like blame the family or point out negative things about the family. They've been through a lot, but at the same time, it is kind of pertinent to the story and to the case, I think. So it's tricky, right? So we're going to try to be as respectful as possible with it.
okay, so
while
this is
still telling the truth as we have discovered it.
so am I to gather that the family don't mind participating in this narrative as long as
it's a certain narrative, it
Okay.
seems. Like as long as they have control of the narrative.
okay, and they have that right, I reckon.
Right, so let's get into the story, Dylan. On the morning of Tuesday, February 10th of 2004, residents of a University of Massachusetts dorm room hear the continuous ringing of an alarm clock. It seemed the resident was not available to turn it off. And I don't know other folks who've lived in a dorm type setting, but I've experienced this before where one of your neighbors has an alarm going off like half the day. No
Okay.
one can turn it off because, of course, their dorm room is locked. You just have to endure that sound,
Oh my gosh.
ringing or buzzing sound.
And I take it it's something you can hear pretty well from the other room.
Sometimes, yeah. And I don't know what it is about that piece of information, but I guess it just kind of haunted me a little bit when I heard it, you know? Later that morning, Lori Murray receives a phone call from a Sergeant Cecil Smith of the Haverhill, New Hampshire Police Department. The words flowing from Smith's mouth do not make sense. According to the law enforcement officer, Lori's daughter, Maura, a nursing student at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, was involved in a single-car accident on Route 112 in Haverhill. The abandoned 1996 black Saturn had crashed into a tree the evening before, left on the roadside, kind of near like a wooded area. The driver, Maura Murray, had vanished before law enforcement arrived on the scene Monday evening. Smith relayed that the car was locked. He had to wait for a search warrant before opening the vehicle. Tuesday morning, he had gotten the green light to search the car. He learned the Saturn was registered to Fred Murray of Weymouth, Massachusetts. 2 locals had phoned in the accident on Monday evening. One neighbor had spoken to the young woman who was driving the Saturn, and by the time the officer arrived, the young woman was gone. There was no sign of her.
Okay.
Now, Dylan, this has been an enduring mystery for over 20 years. What happened to Maura Murray?
Yes, I've always thought this was an interesting, kind of a weird case, a strange missing person case, I guess you would classify it. And, yeah, it's always, for some reason, you hear the general details, and there's just something that seems weird about it. It's like you can't put your finger on it. There's no obvious signs of like, a struggle or someone being taken from the scene or anything like that. But yet there's something just very odd about the whole situation.
Well, again, none of this is registering with her mother, Lori. 21-year-old Maura was on campus. She had classes. Maura had no ties to New Hampshire. And, why would she be traveling in that area on a Monday evening? And also, why was she driving the 1996 Saturn? There are a lot of questions. Here's the thing, Dylan. The Saturn was having issues. Before the events of our story unfolded, Fred Murray had given his daughter, Maura, the older car, a black 1996 Saturn.
So this is like her college car?
Little sedan.
Yeah.
Yeah, she needs to be able to get around Amherst, right? Fred was working a good job, making great money at the time, and decided to buy himself a new car. Give Maura the old car.
And I think that's a common practice in a lot of families, right?
Right. Maura has transferred to the University of Massachusetts and needed this reliable car, but unfortunately, Maura's car had a serious issue. While she was driving the car, smoke was pouring out of it, and it seems she had some kind of head gasket issue, like a bad valve. And Fred told her that made the car unsafe in his opinion.
Right. So it's just belching smoke. You don't know where it's coming from. So until you get that figured out, you probably shouldn't be driving it.
Well, they know it's coming from the head gasket, from this broken valve. I just said that.
Okay. But anyway, yeah, you don't need to drive a car that's pouring smoke like that.
No, and I've had a head gasket go out, Dylan, and they're not cheap to fix.
Right.
It's quite expensive, and if you think about a car that's at this point 8 years old, do you really want to put $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 into the car to fix it?
Yeah, and that's one of those repairs.
It's probably not even worth half that, or you know what I'm saying, because it's an old car.
Right, because you never know if something else might go out, as soon as you get that fixed. And honestly, a head gasket repair, that's the type of thing I've heard more than once. I've heard someone try to fix it, and it's like the car's never right again, or they continue to have issues from it. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know, bud. I had a head gasket replaced in that white Honda, and you drove that thing. It's probably still going somewhere.
Oh, no. I certainly wish I still had that car. But I'm just saying it's one of those types of repairs, that seem to kind of keep having issues sometimes.
Well,
it's a big deal.
From what I understand as well, maybe some of the early Saturns were maybe not the best built car. It takes a few years sometimes to get the car right.
Right.
So, according to Fred, he said at this point, it's not worth putting the money in. It's, an old car, and there's probably going to be other things let's just buy you a new car. So, as a matter of fact, Fred had spent the previous weekend in Amherst. He had planned to help buy his daughter a car. He had rented a motel for the weekend and took his daughter Maura car shopping. He had taken out $4,000 cash. They had found a few cars, but Fred claimed they cost more than the cash he had brought with him. Like, they were in the $6,000 to $7,000 range.
Okay.
And he knew he was going to have to, go back to his bank, get more money out, whatever. So he figured by the time he returned to buy one of these cars, maybe the next weekend, they would probably still be there and or have a comparable vehicle on the lot.
Wow, that's the good old days when you could buy a good running car for $4,000 to $6,000, right?
Gosh, those days are long gone. Now, for $4,000 to $6,000, they're going to sell you something that's 30 years old and missing the hood.
That was literally a $500 car back in the day.
Yeah, I don't know. These car prices are out of control. Never in my life did I think I would know someone who has an 8-year car note.
Right.
That's insanity. Paying $80,000 for a pickup truck? Give me a break, bro.
Well, no, it's like you saw someone say, I don't qualify for a home loan, but I did qualify for this $85,000 car loan. It's just weird.
Makes no sense to me. I mean, and who do these car companies think they are? Because let's be honest, the cars today are shittier.
They don't last.
They're not made out of quality materials. They're plastic. They're cheap.
They ding up. They get scraped. It's pretty ridiculous. They get more and more expensive, and everything on the inside is just kind of cheap feeling.
Yeah, and they get more and more expensive, and they honestly have no character. The cars, they all look alike. Today's cars, in my opinion, okay, and I'm I love a good old car, right? There's no style to these cars. They all look the same. I can't tell the difference half the time between these little crossover SUVs.
Right.
That once upon a time were had a distinctive look about them. You knew immediately, hey, that's a RAV4.
Right.
That's a Pathfinder. That's a Pilot.
That's a Land Rover.
Right. And today they just all look the same. All of them.
Yeah. So
and they're
what?
Boring colors.
Wow. And that's why the car market's in free fall. So here we are. They've went car shopping, which I enjoy and I don't enjoy shopping for cars. I know that you don't seem to enjoy it at all.
No.
You like to go and just do it and get it done. You don't want to go to a bunch of different places and look.
I just don't like dealing with the salespeople. That's the thing I hate about it.
I do hate the feeling.
I just want people to leave me the fuck alone. Let me look, and if I see something I like, I'll ask you a question, but I don't need you breathing over my shoulder. Get out of my personal space. And quit trying to upsell me and, talk my ear off.
Right.
You're not going to sell me something I don't want.
No, it's almost like they're a stripper at the bar, a stripper bar, or I'm sorry, a dancer, an exotic dancer, and they're acting like they're interested in, what you want. And they don't care. They just want to get across the finish line.
Some money.
They just want to get across get a sale, which I understand. And it's I go to these places where there's vendors and stuff, and I can't even make contact with the people at the booths because they want to make a sale, and I don't want to buy anything. I'm just I'm window shopping, if you will. And I don't like any kind of high sales pressure of any sort. It just makes me feel weird.
No, I don't need you to hold my items at the counter.
Right.
I don't need you to show me the robe that matches the bra. Leave me alone, bro. Leave me alone. Now, Lori begins making calls to Maura's siblings. She is still having a hard time figuring out what is going on because, again, none of this makes sense, Dylan. If you think your child is at college and it's middle of the week, it's the weekday, she's got class, and you find out she's in a completely different state and has had an accident, I think most parents would be like, what is happening?
Well, she's confused. The car's already, I'm sure the whole family's discussed the car situation. As far as they're concerned, the car is basically dead. And they're looking for a new one, actively looking for a new one. So they're just totally confused as to what's going on, right?
Fred Murray does not receive information that his daughter is missing until 4:30 p.m. He had been working and unavailable to take personal calls, it seems. Fred also learns details of the accident. The Saturn had front end damage to the bumper. The airbags had deployed, and the windshield was cracked. Now, when Sergeant Cecil Smith found the vehicle, it was locked. He obtained a search warrant for the car. Inside, the vehicle held a lot of personal items, and it's kind of obvious signs that the car was being used by a female.
Okay.
Like clothes. I mean, there's just a bunch of stuff in there. In total, there will be 109 items found in the car. There are snacks like Twizzlers and pickles, toiletries, clothes, running clothes, textbooks, an Eastern Massachusetts road map, a 3x5 index card with directions to Burlington, Vermont, along with a brochure for Vermont attractions. There was a receipt showing $40 of alcohol had been purchased earlier before the accident had happened on Monday. The receipt included vodka, Kahlua, Irish cream, and a 6-pack of a malt beverage, one of which was empty in the car. The vodka and Kahlua were not in the car, indicating that Maura had taken those items with her. Another oddity was that there was a rag stuffed into the tailpipe, and this will come up as a point of debate. Now, we will learn from Fred that, he told his daughter, don't drive this car. But if something happens and there's an emergency and you absolutely need to drive the car for some reason, to stuff a rag in the tailpipe so smoke wouldn't come out. But other folks are like, that doesn't make any sense because that's actually going to mess the car up.
No, I know very little about cars.
Like it's going to back up and it's going to cause the car to shut down, quit, whatever.
Yeah, because that's basically how the car breathes. And
right.
And I think we all of a certain age, we remember the Beverly Hills Cop banana trick.
Yeah, the banana in the tailpipe.
Right, when he wanted to,
Foley, man, he was always up to some shenanigans.
When Foley wanted to slip off and ditch his Beverly Hills counterparts, he stuffed a banana in their tailpipe and they couldn't go. So, I mean, that's real facts.
Right. So, it didn't really make sense. We don't understand why there's a rag in the tailpipe.
So, if indeed he truly told his daughter that, he was misinformed. And I think I don't think the car would operate very well. Even you take a regular car is operating completely fine and you block off the tailpipe, it's going to cause issues. Right.
So that's a very odd kind of thing happening, right? There was also a red substance on the side door and ceiling as if there had been some kind of spill. Smith believed it was wine. There was a box of wine found inside the car. It looked like it had either been broken or had been opened already.
Okay.
So it seems like maybe this wine, if you have an accident, shit in your car kind of flies around. So maybe it had just sort of burst out, and that explains how it got on the ceiling, right? Outside, he found a Coke bottle filled with a red liquid. He said that the red liquid was an alcohol substance, so he believed it was wine in this empty Coke bottle.
And he found that nearby the car outside.
Yes.
Okay.
Initially, investigators theorized that the young woman had been drinking and driving, wrecked the car, and left in a panic. She was likely trying to avoid police. Smith suspects that Maura is going to show up at any time. But wait, there's more, Dylan. I'll be jumping around a little bit here. I'm going to give you some background. We'll get back into the case. I might give you some more background. So bear with me. It's all going to come together. So like I said, wait, there's more. So the previous Saturday night, Maura had borrowed her father's new car. She and a friend named Kate attended what has been described as a dorm party. Kate told Julie Murray, that's Maura's sister, that there were only maybe 7 to 8 people at this dorm party, and it was more like a chill get-together, not some kind of wild party. She said the dorm rooms were very small. Again, you can only fit about 7 to 8 people in there.
So that's more of a gathering,
It's more
right?
like just hanging out.
Right.
Right? Everyone was just, as you mentioned, Dylan, hanging out. They had been invited by a friend named Sarah Alfieri, who has also not been very forthcoming with details of that night. She has refused to speak to any media. She doesn't talk to the family. She just doesn't discuss that evening at all.
Okay, well, I guess that could be for multiple reasons, right? She could be just a shy, private person. They could have been doing maybe some recreational drugs that kind of weirds her out. She certainly doesn't want to discuss that with parents or anyone else or school officials.
Yeah, there's been a lot of speculation about this party.
Okay.
Now, Sarah will claim to law enforcement that she'd been asleep, like, during the whole thing.
So she invited people over,
Yeah.
but then she slept the whole time.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I guess that could happen, but it just doesn't seem
She obviously doesn't have insomnia.
right.
Because there's no way I can sleep if there's people around. Now, Kate said nothing unusual happened at the party. There were some people hanging out that they didn't know, like they were friends of Sarah's, but Kate and Maura didn't know them. But she didn't really indicate that it was like weird or uncomfortable. She said Maura seemed tired. And at some point, Maura wants to leave the party. She told Kate she needed to return to the car. She needs to get this car back to her dad. This is around 2:30 that Maura departs. And so Maura and Kate kind of go their separate ways. And according to Kate, like, Maura is escorted back to her dorm by these 3 guys who are at the party that don't attend the school.
Okay.
Okay. But it seems like she maybe went to her dorm room. These boys were interviewed. I mean, it didn't seem like anything happened. They just kind of walked her to her dorm room. But there's kind of like this missing hour in the timeline, because from 2:30 to 3:30, we don't really know what Maura was doing during this hour. Like, if she was back at the dorm, she'd obviously gone to the dorm, but was she there for a full hour? There's kind of like missing time. We can't account for it, is what I'm going to say. So at 3:30 a.m., Maura crashes her dad's brand new car by hitting a guardrail. This accident is only 1 mile from campus.
Damn, Maura.
Well, there are questions about, like, why Maura felt like she needed to get this car back to her dad this late. She's got a room on campus. Wouldn't it have been easier to just go to sleep and then the next morning, like, take the car back to your dad instead of driving after you've been to a party? It's 3:30 in the morning. Like, why would you be going back to this motel? You know your dad's asleep. It's kind of strange.
Yeah, it's kind of strange, but, maybe, I mean, they're young people for one, right?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe she didn't want to park it on campus. I don't know.
Maybe they were going to start early the next morning and she thought she'd just crash at the doing whatever her and her dad were going to do, and she thought she would just crash there with him. It would be easier for her. Or maybe, he needed the car earlier and she felt like once she went to sleep, she wouldn't want to, maybe get it back to him on time. I mean, I guess there could be a bunch of reasons.
So like I said, this accident is only about a mile from campus. Maura claims she had not been drinking for hours before the accident, and there was no sobriety test administered by law enforcement who arrived at the scene. Maura was very upset about the crash. Now, there are conflicting stories because in one set of reports, the motel clerk said that Maura came in and they had to call Fred in his room, and that he came out to the lobby to find Maura crying and, like, confronted her about, like, what's going on. And she explains what's happened, right?
Right.
But then other stories say that, like, she just went in the room, went to bed, and didn't tell Fred until the next morning that the car had been crashed.
See, those are completely
Yeah.
polar opposite situations. I mean, those are quite different situations.
Well, yeah, and I mean, again, it's like you get certain statements from the family, but then there's other statements given from people who have a different story. So it's, again, kind of confusing. So I'm going to just go with, okay, so the next morning when he learns what happened, he scolded Maura, saying she was lucky she wasn't issued a DUI. And Maura told her dad she had not been intoxicated at the time of the accident. But again, we don't really have any way of knowing. She had been at a party. She had a box of wine that her dad had taken her to purchase along with her girlfriend before the party. So she had been drinking at the party, but we don't know, like, how much she had been drinking.
So yet again, a box of wine in a car.
Yes, the same box of wine.
It's the same box of wine.
Yeah.
Now, are you supposed to refrigerate the wine after you start opening and drinking it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on the wine.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't refrigerate red wine.
Well, that's true. I don't know anything about wine. I'm just
Look, it's box wine, Dylan.
Yeah.
I don't think it counts. I don't think it matters.
it's like Domino's pizza. You could eat it 3 days after it's been sitting out on your stove,
Pretty much.
and you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Fred learned the insurance would cover most of the car's damage, but this did not sway Maura's mood. She felt incredibly guilty about this car accident. On Sunday, Maura cried on the ride back to campus. When she got out of Fred's rental car, she was still kind of sobbing, just felt really terrible about what had happened. Fred and Maura agreed they would speak on Monday. Fred told her she needed to go get some insurance forms to file on Monday, so they would reconnect then. And then he described her as sort of just kind of slumping, and going into her dorm like she was upset.
Like kind of her tail between her legs kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Kind of
Yeah.
defeated, tired, been through a lot.
Right.
I'm sure, right?
Now, as soon as Fred hears about his missing daughter, he feels an urgency to do something. Early morning, February 11th, Fred travels to New Hampshire. While driving in the dark, he has this sinking feeling. Winter in New Hampshire is quite cold. There had been a snowstorm recently. Temperatures on Monday night had been very low. Fred worried that Maura could be out in the weather, lost in the woods.
Yeah, these types of
Hypothermia could set in.
Yeah, these types of conditions are deadly.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's hard to survive outdoors in those temperatures, especially if you don't have any gear.
Yeah, this is the type of area where I'm sure people that have grown up there are used to kind of keeping a kit in the car, If you're have any kind of preparedness, blankets, maybe, a little bit of food and water, because, these bad storms can come out of nowhere.
Maybe a pair of snow boots.
Whiteout conditions.
Yeah.
And just all of a sudden you're stranded,
The area was not well marked where Maura had wrecked. The directions told Fred to find a red barn just after a horseshoe bend in the road. Maura's car had been towed away on February 9th, but Fred found the tire tracks still visible. Fred walks around looking for footprints that might indicate which direction Maura had taken off, but there are none. At the time Maura disappeared, she would have been walking in 2 feet of snow from the recent storm.
Wow.
Fred feels certain if she'd walked away, there would be some evidence of tracks.
Yeah, 2 feet of snow. I mean, you're kind of slogging through that. You know what I mean? Pushing a path. It's not something that would be unnoticeable.
When Fred shows up at the Haverhill Police Department, he inquires about search efforts. What is being done to find my daughter? Fred is frustrated when he learns that no one has searched for Maura. There was no excuse why the police had not performed a search. Fred is feeling like the police don't care that his daughter is missing. While there, officers, along with some canines, are sent out to the accident scene. Using a pair of gloves that had been removed from the car, Maura had gotten these gloves for Christmas, by the way. The dogs were given the scent and let loose. Didn't seem to find anything. Now, her family argues that she'd gotten these gloves for Christmas and that was not the best item to use because they don't even know if she had worn these gloves yet.
Well, yeah,
and there were other things in the car that definitely would have had her scent.
Oh, okay.
Running clothes, that kind of thing.
Oh, I bet running clothes would be a good thing to get someone's scent off of. And these are bad conditions for trying to, I would think.
Well, that's the other thing.
For trying to do this kind of tracking.
It's been more than a day. We're going on more day and a half or something, and the conditions aren't great. Now, the canines, like I said, have no luck tracing Maura's scent. Fred is growing increasingly agitated with police. He feels nothing is being done. Now, he's told that the Fish and Game will begin a search of the area. Now, this search spans several miles on foot, and an air search is conducted. Using some heat-sensing technology, the search goes on for hours, but there is no sign of Maura.
Now, do you agree with Fred that if you were in his position, would you be surprised that they did not do even a general search of the surrounding area?
I knew you were going to ask this, and I am going to touch on this later.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Now this mystery deepens. Experienced searchers using this reliable technology are having no luck. They find no tracks. The heat sensing technology is showing nothing.
So was that done from the air?
Well, I just said some of it.
No, it was for, yeah, I'm sure they were using the FLIR device.
Yeah, Dylan, I mentioned some of it was conducted in an air search.
Right, and that's very, very widespread, very sensitive technology, right?
Well, we also have fish and game, officers or whatever. These game wardens that are out in this area know the area and know how to navigate the woods.
Right, they know the back trail, the
So,
log roads,
yeah,
all that.
so they're just not having any luck. By now, Maura's siblings have heard the news that she's missing, and they've arrived in town to help with the search. Lori was at home with a broken ankle, so she was unable to search for her daughter. And over the years, a lot of people have given her shit, like, I can't believe her mother wasn't there. But it's like, well, it's hard for her to be there when she's got a broken ankle.
How's she going? What's she going to do to help in 2 foot of freaking snow, dude?
Well,
I mean,
also, somebody has to stay behind and man the phones.
yeah, it's true.
In case Maura calls, in case there's an update, in case Maura shows up at home.
I mean, I didn't grow up where there's big snows, but I remember, the handful of big snows in my life, and it was a pain in the ass to get around. And I'm sure people in an area like this, or know very well how tough these conditions are, especially if you get off the road into the open, the raw woods.
Well, Dylan, you know how the world works today, and everybody has an opinion on everything. Everybody's an expert, from missing persons to tariffs to peace in Israel. Like, everybody knows everything.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody's smarter than you, and they know all the things.
It's true. There's so many experts in so many fields
Yeah.
nowadays.
Yeah. All these students who can't even finish school, like, on the grade level, but they know more about it than you do.
Yeah, they can't tell you how many countries are on North America.
Yeah.
The North American continent.
Yeah. Now the mystery deepens, as I said. Lori's left behind. They're just trying to figure out, like, what they can start doing. And I mean, most people are not experienced with this. You don't really know where to begin.
No.
Like, where do you start looking for your missing loved one, right?
It's not like you've been through this before, so I'm sure almost every single time. Now and again you have a family who's had, multiple tragedies in their life, but for the most part, everyone's going to be navigating this for the first time. So, forgive them if they don't make every move exactly like a Monday morning quarterback would think that they should, right?
Maura's boyfriend, Bill Roche, who is stationed at Fort Sill in Oklahoma, is working to get leave approved so he can travel to New Hampshire. So you got a lot of folks who want to be there, who want to be on the ground.
Do you think, I don't know, you would look for me, but I think that would be it. I don't think I'd have anybody else that would look for me.
There might be 2 or 3 more people.
You and Rufus. Well, yeah, maybe.
Maybe I would come the ends of the earth looking for you.
You would?
Yeah.
I'd look all over the yard for you, all around. I'd
That's-
even go out back.
That's it?
Yeah.
Just you'd look around the house. Cool.
No,
I'm
baby.
glad you put forth that much effort.
Well, no, I'm telling you, I would do
Dude,
it.
if you would need help if I went missing. You
Not-
do not know how to navigate, like, social media, create flyers. You don't even know how to, like, attach a document to an email. You would be so helpless.
All I know is that there's like a paperclip
You'd
thing.
have to go next door and get, like, Brian and Santa to help you,
Yeah.
or get Renee to help
Okay.
you. Like, you'd have to rely on friends and neighbors
So
because you are, like, technologically troubled. You're lacking.
But I can walk in woods, though. I can do that. I can carry stuff.
Well, as long as you can stop every couple of feet and smoke, you'd be okay.
Well, I'm not even smoking now, so at the moment. But I'm saying I can carry stuff. I can walk through woods. I have been in deep woods before. If you go missing in deep woods,
Yeah, it's very likely I would go missing in deep woods.
it
Yeah,
would be one of the
absolutely.
places that my skill set would really is built for. And now you did make me realize I would have a team.
You
a
would
team
need a
to
team.
help me.
You would have to have a team, Dylan.
Thanks, God.
See, I can man a 1-woman operation up in this house,
Yeah.
but not you. And I don't mean that I don't mean that badly.
That's okay, honey. You can tell them to look for my head.
It's okay.
Be on the lookout for a big-ass head
Everybody has their own special talents, and
that might have a thinning spot in the back of it.
computers are not your talent, and that's okay. Now, Maura Murray, let's discuss her a little bit. Maura Murray was born May 4th of 1982. She was the fourth of 5 kids growing up in what has been described as a close-knit, hardworking family in Hanson, Massachusetts. Maura's parents divorced when she was 6 years old, but remained devoted and active in their children's lives. Through my research, I learned that the youngest child number 5, Curtis, does not actually belong to Fred Murray. He belonged to another man named Kevin Noble, who was arrested for murdering his brother.
Oh, wow.
I guess incarcerated. Yeah, so Curtis's name was like Curtis Noble Murray. So though this child did not belong to Fred, it seems that, he was still active in the boy's life, didn't really treat him differently than the other kids.
Oh, yeah. And I honestly believe that doesn't matter at all. Yeah, I mean, you can certainly raise a child as your own and be genuine about it. If you're not genuine about it, don't bother. Don't act or put it on a front. But yeah, that doesn't matter whether or not a child's your biological offspring, because I think how you raising that child is a whole nother ball of wax.
Right. So despite this divorce, both remain, devoted, active in their children's lives. Some people have described Maura as having the ideal American childhood, growing up in the suburbs, family meals, school activities, weekend plans, weekend fun. Maura had an older brother, Freddie Jr., 2 sisters, Kathleen and Julie, and then the little brother, Curtis. Maura liked camping over the state line in the White Mountains of New Hampshire. She would often go camping with her father, just the 2 of them. Now later, James Renner, a true crime author, will interview Lori's sister, Janice. So this would be Maura's aunt. And she would bring up the point about Maura going camping with her dad, and that, Maura's 14, 15 years old, and that she's sharing a tent with her dad. And the aunt found that to be very strange. And I was discussing this with you, and I said, at that age, if I'd gone camping with my dad and we shared a tent, I wouldn't have thought anything in the world about it. Because my dad's a lot of things. I mean, he's a total jackass, but he's not molesty.
Right.
And has never made me feel uncomfortable like that. So at 14 or 15, I wouldn't have thought anything about sharing a hotel room with him, sharing a tent with him. You know what I mean? And I guess if you have an innocent kind of a relationship with your parent, that wouldn't seem to be a big deal. And it's interesting to me that some people find that to be absolutely shocking, while other people are like, what's the big deal?
Well, it's like, man, you said there could be many reasons for that. If they camped a lot as she was growing up, she may be afraid to be in her own tent. We've had kids with us camping. It's kind of, let's be honest, it's kind of creepy, especially when you're first doing it, to be sleeping in this little thin tent out in the wild like that. Even if you're at a KOA campground, it still feels like you're in the middle of nowhere. And it could just be something they've gotten used to, doing. I mean, it might not be weird at all, is what I'm saying.
Right. But I did want to mention that Maura had an especially close relationship with her father, Fred. The aunt Janice has almost indicated that it was a strangely close relationship that they shared.
Okay,
of
again.
Of course, the rest of the family defends the relationship and doesn't want to talk about it or doesn't find it weird.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that she could have genuine gut feelings about this that matter. We're not interacting with these people. Or it could just be things like, oh, they still share a tent when they can't. I mean, it could be her perspective that makes, she thinks that some of these things are weird when they're really not. I mean, it's just one of those subjective things that's really hard to kind of make a good read on.
Just keep that in mind as we go on in our story. Okay. Okay, Fred was a nuclear medicine tech, and her mother worked as a nurse. One friend said, quote, Fred was proud, especially of Maura. She was the golden girl. Maura was bright and talented. She blossomed into a standout athlete and student. From an early age, Maura developed an interest in hockey. On the ice, she was confident. Coaches considered her to be highly motivated. She pushed herself beyond what was expected. She wasn't the strongest or the biggest at the rink, but Maura played with strategic thinking and determination. She was a star on her high school's track and cross-country teams. Maura was also an excellent student academically. She did well in what we would today call STEM classes, math, sciences. She had an active social life, which provided her with some strong connection. She had a lot of friends. She kept busy. One of the odd things that stood out to me, though, Dylan, is when her long-term friends, like from high school, had been interviewed, they described never being invited into Maura's home.
Oh, like
if they stopped by, and that Maura never drove anywhere. If they stopped by to pick her up, she came outside to meet them. They were not allowed to come in the house. She wasn't allowed to have them over at the house.
Now, do they know
They weren't allowed to have sleepovers at her house.
she's literally not allowed, or is that just the way it worked out, that she was always kind of on the go? Or
Well, again, there's some back and forth on that.
well,
The issue is fuzzy.
Well, I guess from their viewpoint, all their other friends, like, they at least step in for a minute. You know what I mean? Oh, hold on, I'm not quite ready. Come on in, or whatever. And I guess just over all the interactions, it would strike me as odd, maybe.
Well, think about it. If you have a best friend and you guys do everything together, and you've never, ever once been invited to your friend's home, you have no idea what color their couch is, you don't know what your friend's bedroom looks like, does she have a poster of John Stamos on the wall? Like, you just don't know these things, right? That's odd to me.
Yeah, that's a bit odd.
So it makes me wonder, like, why? Did Maura not want friends in the house? Or did her parents not want other people in the house? Was she embarrassed about something?
Dude, have you ever been at a friend's house when you were younger and, like, their parents didn't know you were there? And then their parents, like, come home and it's, like, all weird and shit?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I've had that happen before.
Okay. Oh, so you're just like the weird kid that pops up?
No, I'm not the weird kid.
You look like you would have been a weird kid.
No, I was a normal kid.
Yeah, traipsing in the woods, coming over your big head, being weird,
coming out of the deep woods.
probably eating snacks.
Well, I was eating snacks because they had the good snacks.
See, exactly. Those parents were like, "Quit eating the good snacks, you little fat-headed kid."
But, you should have got this. You said it was okay, right? They said it was okay. It's going to be fine. And then their parents come in and make it all weird.
Man, parents. Now, her sister Julie said that, quote, she was a kind of jokester of the family. And of course, having 3 older siblings, she got picked on a lot, especially in such a competitive family as mine. So she developed this quick wit really early on to try and combat us. She was a lot of fun and really clever, thoughtful, and humble. So she gets a lot of ribbing, Dylan. She's got to get that thick skin going, got to be able to fight back. I never had older siblings to push me around, but I had parents that bullied me, so
yeah.
I had to.
They handled that, didn't they?
I had to get. I had to get a quick wit.
My mama hits hard, not you, son bitch.
She graduated from Whitman Hanson Regional High School. She was accepted into the prestigious United States Military Academy at West Point in New York.
Wow, that's a pretty big deal.
Maura's SAT scores were 1420.
That's pretty much what mine were.
She studied chemical engineering for 3 semesters. Over the years, there have been rumors floated that Maura was kicked out of West Point, and this is untrue. Her sister Julie dispelled some of the conversation surrounding this on TikTok. Her sister Julie is active on TikTok. She also has a podcast, and we'll talk about that. But, on TikTok, Julie discusses a lot of these rumors, debunks them, makes a lot of Maura-related content. Now, according to Julie, Maura had gotten into trouble in August of 2001 for taking some makeup from the commissary. without paying.
That's called stealing.
Yeah, Dylan, that's exactly what it's called. She was sent to the honor board, who would determine her punishment. Now, Julie attended West Point as well, and she explained this was a minor offense, that Maura would have most likely not been kicked out of the school. Maura decided the military wasn't a good fit and dropped out before a decision was made in January of 2002. So before learning what the punishment was, she just dropped out of school.
Now, do you think she was worried that maybe even if this wasn't, according to her sister, not that big of a deal, you think she was worried that they were going to throw her out? So it's kind of like
Possibly.
it's kind of like you quit a job before they can fire you.
Well, I mean, her sister's like, this isn't a very big deal, but let's be honest, the school has a strict honor code.
So in a setting like this, even a minor, getting something and let's say forgetting to pay for it, however you want to phrase it, it could be maybe a pretty big deal.
I would say it's a big deal. I
Right.
mean, to play it off like, oh, it's just this minor thing. I mean, come on. That's shoplifting. It's a crime. And it's going to be a big deal at a military school like West Point.
Honor and trust are very important values at a place like that.
Yes, very. Now, according to documents obtained from West Point, Maura was pulled out of class 7 times in 2001 to appear before the honor board. So it does seem she had some issues at West Point. I don't know if these 7 visits to the honor board or going before the honor board related to the shoplifting or if there were like other issues happening, but that seems like a lot to be pulled out of class 7 times.
Right.
For a shoplifting offense. I just feel like there's got to be more to the story than that.
Like there were other issues besides this one issue.
Possibly. And I'm speculating. I don't know. Now, a West Point classmate said, quote, she didn't want to be there. There was a sense that Maura was trying to live up to expectations that weren't hers. Now, like I said before, Dylan, Julie had attended West Point. Maura knew what she was getting into. Like her sister had given her a pretty honest breakdown of it's going to be hard. These are the things you need to do. Under Julie's advisement, Maura studied. She prepared for West Point. Her sister gave her like whatever the study materials were so that she would be ready when she got there, be ahead of the game.
Yeah, and so at West Point, a place like that, it's not just the academics, right?
Right.
I mean, I'm assuming they're going to
No.
have a physical element
Oh,
to
yeah.
your
There's
training.
a challenging physical. It's very rigorous. Maura could meet those challenges, Dylan, physically and academically. Like those demands, no problem. She's described as, a brilliant young woman, good student, and physically, I mean, she's a track star. She's super fast.
Hockey. I mean, it's a very physical sport.
Right. Now, the first year at West Point is always the hardest. Freshmen are called plebes. I had a friend that went to the Citadel, and I remember him being called a plebe and describing to me some of the things that went on when you were a freshman at a military school. Back then, I guess they were still hazing a bit.
Oh, just a bit.
Just a bit. This was in the, late 90s. Maura quickly got attention as the fastest in the Beast Barracks. That's what they were called. I guess the freshman barracks when you go for that summer semester. But it didn't take long for Julie to realize that her sister was just not really fitting in at West Point. One thing Julie points out is that she loved it. Like, Julie was built for this. She wanted to be a military officer. She loves physical activity. She loves challenges. She's really super competitive. So she absolutely loved it. Like, throw me the hardest thing you got, right? But Maura did not love it.
Well, and I think that would be a very important distinction in an environment like this, right? Even if you can do it physically and you have the smarts to handle the heavy load of the academics and still perform at that level and do well, I think if your heart's not in it, it's really going to affect you in a pretty bad way in a setting like that, right?
Well, when you don't love something, Dylan, that means your heart really isn't in it.
And you're still having to put this tremendous amount of physical
Right.
and emotional effort into this thing.
Right. So after 3 semesters, Maura made the decision to drop out of West Point, as I mentioned before. Now, Maura enrolled at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, where she majored in nursing. However, pressure was never far behind. Maura balanced nursing classes, a long-distance relationship with Bill, and 2 part-time jobs. She worked as like at a security desk in a dorm, like checking IDs, I guess making rounds, that kind of thing. And also part-time at an art gallery on campus. It started to take its toll. Before she went missing, Maura had only recently moved into a single dorm room. Residents of the dorm described her as being quiet and keeping to herself. Maura had dated her boyfriend Bill on and off for several years. It was described as one of those relationships that had like a makeup breakup loop.
Yeah.
You probably all know this young couple. It happens.
It's like, I hate you, but I love you so much.
Well, I don't know. That seems a little trashy, but that's like the trashy version of it.
Well, dear, I hate you. I don't care for you at all. But you have my heart, and you're grasped upon your palm.
Earlier in their relationship, Bill reportedly cheated on Maura, which caused some friction. Some of her friends didn't exactly like him, trying to get her to break up with him.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you have a friend or a relative in one of these situations, no matter what side they are in the relationship, it just gets old, right? I mean, because they're going through this loop, and they're kind of having repetitive behaviors. You can see it coming. They're going to, first it's just a small argument, and then whatever about their personalities that don't jive, it just turns into this thing. It kind of snowballs, and, then they're telling you just with all their heart how much they can't stand the person, how this is it for once and for all. It's over. And knowing damn well that, less than a weekend, they're going to be back together and kind of just reset and start it all over again. It gets old. It gets old to people around you, I think.
During a period of breakup, Maura had dated another young man. I will just call him Haas. That's how he is referred to in James Renner's book.
Oh.
Haas. He's a graduate student. He was also involved with the track team. He gives James Renner some lowdown kind of, I guess, some dirt on Maura. And like I said, I don't want to speak ill of her, but I do think it's important that we have a full picture of Maura. I mean, he says I wasn't the only one she was sleeping with. He described her as being promiscuous, that she had slept with other members of their track team. There were these salacious parties. Someone had a key to a campus pool, I guess where the swim team practiced, that kind of thing. And they would break in there late at night, party. There was sex. Haas described orgies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So again, I mean, I don't know. This is just hearsay. This is what this guy's saying about her. But, it wasn't like they had a bad breakup or anything. They stayed friends. He wanted to be friends after they quit seeing each other.
Well, and honestly, like you said, not to speak ill of anyone.
He described it as typical college behavior.
Yeah, and she has, they have every right to take part in these, right? Consenting adults, young adults get to do whatever they want.
Right.
And it doesn't matter. But I also think you shouldn't, which happens a lot more frequently than anyone speaking ill of anyone. You have this whitewashing